Hello, and welcome to 52 Weeks of Angel Connection. Um, my name is Christy Clemens Hoffman. I am an angel intuitive, medical intuitive, animal communicator. I do a lot of things. Based in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm here at my office in Kansas City. So, if you're new to this series, at the beginning of 2020, or just at the end of 2019, I decided that each week of 2020, I would bring in and talk about, with, and to a different angelic presence each week of the year. And so I don't know which week we're on, but we're talking today with Archangel Azrael. Now, Archangel Azrael, you may not have heard of. Archangel Azrael is otherwise known as the angel of death, which sounds like a bad thing, which sounds like doom and gloom, but truly, this is not. Archangel Azrael is the one who works with grief. He works with those who are newly deceased to come to terms with what's happened to them. Sometimes he needs to get us acclimated to the other side, letting us know this is what happened to you. What do you need help with processing? What do you need to heal from? And helps us with that. So he can guide us to the healing place. He can get us acclimated in the rich life we have on the other side. If you read Dolores Cannon's book, Between Death and Life, which this is Dolores Cannon, photo of her, she does a particular hypnosis, or she did a particular hypnosis technique called QHHT, which I practice. And in that practice, we always like to take a client to a past life, a future life, another life that has relevance and meaning. But whenever appropriate, so if this was a past life that the client goes to, we always take them to the moment of death. We get so much information from that. But in addition to that, we take them over to the other side. Now, I don't visit with Archangel Azrael in those sessions, but we do have an understanding of what life is like after death. And it's a rich, vast possibility on the other side. So there's the healing place, there's our loved ones, there's cities and places to live, there's avocations that we can do. And also, yes, there is the place where we go to select our next life. So Archangel Azrael just helps us get acclimated there. And at death, we are met by Archangel Jeremiah. And Archangel Jeremiah helps us do a life review. What went well? What didn't go well? What do we need to address? What do we need to carry forward with us? What were we finished with? What did we not finish with? And then passes us off to Archangel Azrael. Archangel Azrael, as I said, is the ultimate grief counselor. Helps those who cross over to grieve their life if they need to do that. Many times we're ready to go, but sometimes we're not. We need to understand and process what happened. But Archangel Azrael also helps us hear those who are left behind, the grief counselors, the people who write obituaries, people who plan funerals, who speak at the funerals. Helps us hear to process grief, holds space for us, and guides us through that grief process, helps us have the words to say, helps us have the presence so that we can speak at funerals, so that we can sing at funerals, so that we can plan funerals. Helps grief counselors so they don't absorb the grief and trauma that the loved ones they work with pass on or have. Helps those who are grieving actively to sleep, to take care of themselves, to do all of this. And I'm going to read from Doreen Virtue's Big Book of Archangels, Archangels and Ascended Masters. And Archangel Azrael is a Hebrew and Muslim angel, also known as Azrael. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time pronouncing this. Azrael, 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 or the angel of death. Now, this is not to be confused with Azrael of the Smurfs, the Smurfs cartoons and the Smurfs comic books. Azrael's name means God whom God helps. His role is primarily to help people cross over to heaven at the time of physical death. Azrael comforts people prior to their physical passing, makes sure they don't suffer during death, and helps them assimilate on the other side. He also surrounds grieving family members with healing energy and divine light to help them cope and thrive. Azrael lends support to surviving friends and family members, easing their journey in material, spiritual, and emotional ways. If you've lost someone, call upon Archangel Azrael for support and comfort. Azrael is very quiet and composed. He has great respect for those in the grieving process and doesn't impose upon them who are going through it. Moreover, Azrael stands by as a source of quiet strength and comfort. Helps with comforting the dying and the grieving, crossing over the newly deceased person's soul, grief counseling, and support for the grieving, material, spiritual, and emotional. Now, today is May 4th, 2020. And around the world, we're all dealing with a new virus, a virus that is novel and new to our bodies. And we do not naturally have an immunity to it. So it is affecting millions of people around the world. And in my country, which of course is the United States, we, although we only have 4% of the world's population, we are number one in terms of reported cases of people who have sickened from this virus. And unfortunately, the predictions of how many would die keep rising, and the number of those who are dying keep rising as well. Currently, we are at more than 60,000 deaths within just 6 weeks, 7 weeks time, which is pretty sobering. And it doesn't look like this crisis will be over anytime soon. We'll be dealing with this for some time. But so many have died. And Archangel Azrael, as soon as I started connecting with him right before this broadcast, he showed me all these people lifted up by the heart chakra. As we know, the novel coronavirus does attack the lungs, which are part of the bailiwick of the heart chakra. So he's showing me all of these people in, most of them are in hospital gowns, but he's showing me all these people just lifted up by their heart chakras as they ascend to heaven. And he wants to let us know that we all do need to resolve any issues with the heart chakra, any issues of not feeling loved, any issues of not being able to love, not connecting with love, that we need to resolve these issues so that we're healthy in the heart chakra and so that we have a clear heart chakra. So he's wanting to let us know, too, to those of us the many, many millions of people who have lost loved ones during this coronavirus crisis, that we're going to feel this for a very long time. And there are so many of us who have lost loved ones, and we lost them without being by their side, without being able to say goodbye in person. And that is something that we'll grieve, not being able to say goodbye to them. He's wanting to let you know that it's okay. The ones who have crossed over, he says, death is such a personal process anyway. It's okay if we're not with our loved ones at that time. He says, don't worry about them being frightened, afraid, and alone. He says, I was with them. I am with them. He says, don't worry about their fear as they were leaving their bodies. He says, I take very good care of them, and you can trust that. He's also saying that we're not allowed to go to funerals, and our loved ones that we've lost are being buried, and their remains are being dealt with apart from the family, that we have no control over that. He says, you need to let go of the feeling of lack of control over that. He said, it's all right. It's okay. He says, your loved ones are very well cared for. They know how much you love them and miss them, and never doubt that they're around you. Oh, I'm going to start crying. But he's saying that the funeral is more for those who are grieving. The ones who have passed don't necessarily need the funeral to be all right. It's us who need that closure and being able to say goodbye. He says, have your memorials, get together online. And in the cases where you can get together in person, do that. Support each other, love each other, comfort each other. He says, all is well. He says, don't ever doubt that this is all part of a divine plan. He said, we on the other side are taking care of you. You will be okay. You will be fine. He says, remember who and what you truly are, and that will make this whole chapter so much better for all of us. It will take the fear away from it. He says, this is a very real situation. People truly are getting sick. They're truly dying. There are people who get sick who, quite frankly, think they're going to die, because the people who get sick get very, very, very sick. But as much as we can stay out of fear, as much as we can clear the heart chakra and support the heart chakra, we're going to be so much better off. So that's the angel message for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this with your friends. If you would like to communicate with your own angels, we all have them. You can make an appointment with me, either in person in my office in Kansas City. And yes, my office is open even throughout this crisis. And online, I work with people around the world. And you can visit me at Angels Guidance with Christy Clemens Hoffman on Facebook and make an appointment there. Or you can visit my website, which is radiatewellnesscommunity.com, and click on the appointments tab. See you next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye.